Hello, everybody. I'm Lexi Lombard, your host of the Lexi Podcast. And if you are a YouTube or video podcast lover, do I have news for you? There is a video element to this podcast I'm recording right now. So if you're watching via video, hello. And if you're listening via audio, it's totally fine. We can have a phone call. It's just the same as always. But now, if you like the video and I want to talk about a particular item, for example, I've been loving this giant purse that I have. I could describe it to you and maybe put a link in the show notes or say I'm going to post it on my Instagram story. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the bag. That is just one of the many perks. I'm still working out kinks, so if you are watching via video, it's a work in progress. We will see how this goes. It is July 2024. Summer is in full force. We are 6 months through the year, and it's time to have an amazing summer. It's time for an amazing summer. It's time for the summer of your dreams, and I'm going to spell out for you the Lexi Lombard summer. Yes, I'm Lexi Lombard, but I cannot take full credit for this concept. I have to give credit to Carla. She DM'd me yesterday and said, I think I'm having a Lexi Lombard summer. Me, being Lexi Lombard, said, oh my goodness, what does this entail? Without having any context, I thought, well, that sounds like fun. But then in second thought, what does that mean to her? I want to know. I said, what's your game plan? Because I wanted to know to her what a Lexi Lombard summer was. And to her, it's going to the beach nonstop, being at friends' pools nonstop, spending so much time sunbathing, giving no fucks about what she looks like, eating fruit from the farmer's market, listening to Brat and Fleetwood Mac, reading a ton. Her journal game has been top notch and feeling sexier than ever. I'm going to message her right now. I want you to know you've inspired this week's episode. So Carla, this one's dedicated to you. I made an itinerary for the Lexi Lombard summer. Obviously, I gave you a little taste. First things first, tan, journal, beach, another beach, pool, another beach, book, journal, walk, hike, another pool, beach, book, all summer long. Obviously, summer is our most naked season, and I'd like for you to consider putting your body dysmorphia or your body insecurities in the freezer for now. You can let them thaw out later. Let's just be honest with ourselves. This is how we look right now. Maybe it's exactly what we want. Maybe it's close to what we want. Maybe it's quite far from what we want. But this is what it is right now. Let's take it as it is and not let that get in the way of us being outside and enjoying the warmth and enjoying the long days. I totally understand being in a season where you're being invited to the beach, you're being invited to the pool, and you think, I really don't want to be basically naked in front of these people. So you can either, one, take the approach of, let's put this in the freezer for now. We can take it out later and have it. Or B, you can make accommodating steps that make you feel comfortable. Whether that's instead of a little bikini, let's do a tankini. Let's do a one piece. Let's do shorts and a t-shirt. Whatever you need to do to feel comfortable being outside, do that. That's fine. The point is, this is the season to be outside. So let's get out there and let's not get in the way of ourselves. Now that we know the itinerary and we know how we're going to feel about ourselves and we're going to accommodate in our own way, the next thing is bathing suit is the first outfit of the day whenever possible. Bikini, first thing you put on in the morning whenever you can. I've been doing that. Obviously, I'm self-employed. I have a little bit of a privilege. You wake up, put on a bikini, make your morning coffee. Sit outside, front yard, backyard, deck, balcony, beach, pool, another pool. Whenever possible, be in a bathing suit. That makes me feel so good. On TikTok, I've been doing the summer routine. I have my little activities that I like to do before working, whether that's a certain journal exercise, not a journal exercise, just generally writing in my diary, writing my to-do list, reading, something of the sort. I like to do that outside in my bikini. Let's get those morning rays. Andrew Huberman would be so proud of us. But let's reiterate, bikini, first outfit of the day, whenever possible. This is one. Alcohol is optional. In every summer I can remember since being a teenager, getting drunk has been a major part of my social life. Getting a little. Right now, I don't feel as inclined. Maybe I'll drink when I go out to a party. Maybe I won't. If I'm oceanside, a Corona with lime sounds amazing. But maybe I want an iced tea. This summer, alcohol is optional. It's not a non-negotiable. I do not care about it the way that I have in the past. You know what's also optional? Staying out till 2 or 3 in the morning. That was a non-negotiable before. It's optional now. You know what isn't optional? Long days. I want to be out as long as possible during the days. From sunup to sundown, I want to be outside as much as I possibly can. One of my personal goals for this week is to try to spend at least an hour outside every day. Piggybacking off of this optional/non-optional, the major theme is less groupthink, more thinking for ourselves. So if all of your friends want to do something but it's not calling to you, don't do it. No more group mentality. This summer is for us. This summer is for you, yourself, and you. That does not have the same ring as me, myself, and I. Me, you, yourself, myself, I. Yeah, there isn't like a me and I. It's just like you and you. I digress. Less groupthink, more individual thinking. Spend your time the way that you want to. If you feel like going wild this summer and your friends are playing it safe, go find some other people to spend the season with. Vice versa, your friends are going out, they're going wild, and you want to be hiking, reading, sitting by a river. This brings me to my next aspect of the Lexi Lombard summer. Group outdoor activities. I have had my eye on USL Project for quite some time now. I've never done one, so I cannot speak with a personal testimony, but it is a group that throws different fun outdoor activities that you can sign up for. Some you have to pay for, some are free. Some are weekend-long trips, some are 2-hour excursions. They have everything from backpacking through Yosemite to breath work in Los Angeles to sculpting with clay on the seaside, fly fishing, jewelry making, a ton of different things that I've been very interested in. So I've been checking out their calendar. There's also a girlie named Sierra that does Today Camp, and I've never done one before, but it's also been on my eye. I met her last week and I've been very curious. But Sierra's Day, and it seems like each month she has different activities that she does. These are both based in California, so ask around. I'm sure one of your outdoorsy friends or one of your friends of friends who's outdoorsy might have their version for you, but I want to find some outdoorsy friends this summer. I want to be sculpting seaside. I want to be camping. I want to be surfing. I want to be in the ocean or in the grass. Because I want to be in the ocean, near the ocean, or in the grass, I need to be portable. Because I want to be outside, I need to be mobile. All right, I'm having myself a day bag. I need light headphones. My AirPod Maxes are not coming with me unless I'm going on an airplane. I'm just going to bring my little wired ones with me. Small headphones, big tote bag. I need something that zips. I need something that I can put some flip-flops in. I need something from my journal, a book, a pen, shells that I find. Big tote bag, small headphones, let's be portable. Another thing, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, Los Angeles is so dehydrating. Yes, it's a desert, but the water doesn't hydrate you. And it's not just if I'm drinking it from the tap, it's even if I filter it. I sound a little bit conspiracy theorist, but I want to say that this is something you can prove. I've already told my friends in the future memoir, the chapter of my life where I'm in Los Angeles, I'm going to quote it as the dehydrated years. And that might have a double meaning. Because am I thirsty? Yes. And I swear, if I'm going out for a long time and I don't have access to water, if the only access I have are like the park water fountains, it's not going to work. I'm relying so heavily on Liquid IV right now and electrolytes. So yeah, small headphones, Liquid IV, big tote. We'll work on quoting that a little bit nicer. But it's definitely a Liquid IV summer for me. Also, they have a new sugar-free one. I don't know if it's new because I actually have had it for probably months now. But some people don't like all the sugar and liquid IV. They have other options. Just saying. So I've spoken about being outside. However, we do have a home, and we're going to have to spend some time there. Clean house. Less is more. Get rid of things that you don't like. I am not a minimalist, but I do believe that everything you own should be something that you like and something that you want. I also believe that you should know what you own. And I'll admit, I hit a point where I didn't. I might remember that I had a thing and I wouldn't know how to find it. You should know what you own and you should know where it is. That's all they say. So give your closet a clean out. Give underneath your sinks, those cabinets, clean those out. What's under your bed? You don't know? Take a look. Less is more, and we should love what we have. As for the look of this summer, bright lip color, moisturized skin. I'm wearing little kitten heels with sporty shorts, mini skirts, short dresses. I'm wearing boots with shorts. I'm wearing boots to the beach, especially if I'm not planning on going in the water. I love having boots on because then no sand gets in my shoes. As for my makeup, I'm using a lip stain so I don't need to be reapplying all day. A little bit of mascara, comb the brows, a little sunscreen. Keeping it low-key, keeping it easy. It's the season to play, and play is something that is not only a priority to me, but it's a concept I think about often. Play being an integral part to childhood, and that turning more into experimentation, rebellion as a teenager. And then as an adult, play seems to turn more into unplugging or rotting. And I'm so exhausted from what I do during the day that I just need to get under the covers and watch TV for 3 hours, which, no judgment, but it does make me sad. Recess should not be something we age out of. So whether that's finding a physical activity or a mental activity, an emotional activity, a hobby of sorts is part of the summer. Maybe you're making jewelry. Maybe you have a summer reading list. To my Patreon listeners, I'm going to give you a summer reading list. I want to give you the breakdown of the Lexi Lombard Summer 2024 reading list. I'm also going to make you a playlist because obviously Brat, Charlie XCX, album of the summer. But summer is also a time I like to reminisce a little bit. When the sun is out, I want to be listening to music that people were jamming to far before I was born. I want to hear 60s, 70s. As Carla had mentioned, I want Fleetwood Mac. Let's go through some of my favorites. My playlist for myself is called Reminiscence. I want some Billy Preston. I want Etta James. I want Paul Simon, Simon and Garfunkel, Lenny Kravitz, The Beatles, Joni Mitchell, Big Mountain, Bob Marley, The Mamas and the Papas, King Curtis, Irma Thomas. There's so many. That's the music I want to be listening to. And also, if you are a Patreon listener, now if you are part of the video tier, you'll receive your bonus episode of the podcast in video form. Because I have 2 tiers to my Patreon. I've been doing Patreon for about a month now. We have the tier that's the price of an iced coffee, and that you receive every single week a extended podcast episode. So typically when I'm recording, I have what I have planned, and then I have the maybe more personal stories that I don't necessarily want going completely public. That's what you get. And for instance, I went out over the weekend, and the stories from this weekend of my evening out on the west side, I live in Silver Lake, and it felt like, I've been to Tenant of the Trees enough times, and these men are not getting me and my friends rounds of shots. I think we need to go to Penmar. So I went to Penmar over the weekend, and let me tell you, I paid for my first drink, and that was it, and I got home at 2 a.m. As I said, alcohol is optional this summer. Staying out late is optional. Of course I'll partake. It's neither here nor there, but it used to be a necessity. I'm getting away from the point. The point is that play is an integral part. need a synonym for integral because I cannot pronounce it well. Integral. Essential. That's fine. Indispensable. I'll try that one. Play is an indispensable part of the Lexi Lombard summer. Okay, I can't say that without smiling. Essential just feels like it rolls off the tongue, but we should be expanding our vocabulary. Maybe that could be your way of playing. I don't know. It really should be getting some sidewalk chalk, decorating the steps of your apartment. It could be, what are other options? What are things I like to do? Maybe you want to get a kite. Maybe you want to build a sandcastle. Maybe you want to bake something. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's food related. Maybe it's making your own journal. Maybe it's a craft. Maybe it's a pull your journal out and figure out ways that you feel like playing. Next thing, I think this is a domestic summer. I want to explore my state. I want to explore my country. I need to see what's going on in the country from my own eyes because does anyone watch the U.S. political debate? I didn't. And I read about it and it was so scary because it's the con man versus the old man, right? I mean, if you don't have access to Google and you were watching while not knowing whether or not if you were watching thinking what he was saying is the truth, you would totally think that he's better equipped than the other guy. So now we're trying to figure out who could potentially replace Biden. I'm going to talk about voting when it becomes more relevant, which no, this is not inherently a political podcast, but whoever gets elected president gets to choose 2 to 3 Supreme Court justices. And right now our Supreme Court is 6-3, 6 conservative, 3 liberal. And we can't have it go 8-1 or truly the girls and the gays might be suffering. I do not want to lose my rights as a woman. So no, I'm not obsessed with Biden, but I need a blue person in office this presidential election because I need him to pick blue spots for the Supreme Court so that we do not have 8 conservatives and 1 liberal in the Supreme Court because this is going to go on for generations. So yes, you might not want to vote for Biden, but vote blue right now. So speaking of summer reading, I'm listening to A Promised Land, which is Barack Obama's book that he wrote after presidency. So consider that assigned reading, everybody. And I was going to say that I want a domestic summer. I want to be doing road trips. I don't have any big, giant plans that I've had in recent summers. Last summer, I went to Paris, London, Spain, Italy. This summer, I think I'm going to go to Yosemite, Sequoia, San Diego. Martha's Vineyard, I just went. Love the East Coast. I love it. I love it. Back to New York. It's a domestic summer. And that, my friends, is the Lexi Lombard Summer 2024. If there's anything you think that I missed, feel free to shoot me a DM, or if you're on Patreon, you can comment in the episode and I can mention it next time around. Or, I forgot, if you're watching via YouTube, you can leave a comment there. Let's chat. I'm going to be so active in all these comments. Guys, it's a slow season. Wait, I'm so excited. If you're watching this via video right now, leave a comment. I will absolutely respond. If you have a question, I'll answer it. If you have a discussion you want to begin, I am here. This is so fun. I haven't been this way, horizontal on YouTube in months. All I've been posting on YouTube are YouTube shorts, so it feels good. These are my roots. If you've only known me from the podcast was a personal project born out of the pandemic. I was primarily known on YouTube. I've been posting videos on YouTube for, 15 years or so. So naturally, of course, there's been other platforms that have taken interest, and the podcast was one that really, I think, replaced my love for YouTube. But even just knowing that this is going to sit on YouTube brings me some joy. Feels good. So that is all I have in terms of my summer itinerary. Now I will get into your questions that you asked on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is @Lexie, just like the name of this podcast. So let's get into them. But first, a word from today's sponsors. Or if you're on Patreon, no sponsors. And if you're on YouTube, I have no idea how the ads are going to work. I need to have a meeting with my podcast network, which I should email him right now. Starting with a question from Sophie K. Irving. Dream location to live. I was thinking about this before I went to bed last night. I would love a home that has space to play, truly. I want to have a space to be creative. I'd love a driveway. I have a shared driveway in my apartment, but I'd love it to have a place for multiple cars, to not have to do street parking. You said location, but I'm describing dream house. I want a pool. I need a pool. You know how people get pools and they say, oh, you never use them. That would not be the case for me, and I've known that since I came out of the womb. I will be using the pool. I also want, in theory, I want a garden, but I don't know how to garden, so maybe not. And I'd like a recreational, usable, outdoor space, either in the backyard or nearby. So to either live on a lake, to live near the ocean, to live on the beach, something of the sort. Near hiking, near the lake, near skiing, something that brings outdoor activity close by. But where in the world, I am not sure. Interesting. I've been thinking about this a lot recently too. Bella asked, do you think your name suits you? So my nickname is Lexie, and a lot of you probably think that that is my full name. But actually, my name is Alexandra Madison, and I have gone by Lexie my entire life, and I do think it's fun and it's spunky, and in that way it fits my personality. But the older I get, the less close to Lexie that I feel. As I had mentioned earlier, if I ever write a memoir, I would like to actually publish that with Alexandra Lombard as the name. Or if I were to ever go into, this is going to sound like a huge jump, but if I were to ever go into politics, I would definitely run as a Alexandra Lombard, not a Lexi Lombard. But in terms of being on the internet and like having a little talk show as I have right now, the Lexi Lombard show is super fun and I feel like very entertaining. It fits this space of my life. But Lexi is playful and I think I am too. But I've actually been growing away from it. So I'm glad you asked because I've been thinking about that a lot. Millie asked for my opinion on idolizing celebrities. I've never been a fangirl. There's two people that I would fangirl over, Julia Fox and Barack Obama. I don't know. But even still, like I've never met Obama, but I've met Julia Fox before, and even then I kept it cool. But you have to know that people are people. Also, celebrities are images. They are brands. They are concepts. The people behind the celebrity are often very different from how they are presented in public, which the older we get, the more we know. But I was never much of a fangirl. I was such a little pick-me in high school that I certainly was never a fangirl because I wanted to be the anti-fangirl. Which now, I love that I can be a part of pop culture. Like, I love saying, yeah, I'm having a brat girl summer because I think it's fun to be a part of a collective and to have what feels like a fun community that's all sharing admiration over the same thing. But I do not think we should idolize celebrities. I think we can enjoy them and we can like them, but to idolize them is probably not helpful. Paris wants some prompts, assuming that you mean journal prompts. Okay, well, I just did the Japanese 4-part Venn diagram. Sorry, the page turning sounds really loud. What is it called? It starts with an I. 4-part Japanese Venn diagram. Oh, guys. My brain does not think in terms of SEO. For example, this is my first video podcast that I've done by myself ever. And I couldn't think of the searchable term, so I searched on YouTube how to match up audio from a separate mic to a video using Final Cut Pro. You know what would have been a better search version? How to sync audio on Final Cut Pro. How to match up audio from separate mic. How to sync audio is what I was looking for. So me searching 4-part Japanese Venn diagram, yes, it came up, but there had to have been a better way. It's called the Ikigai. And if you're watching via video, I can put an image of what that looks like. But it's 4 circles: that which you love, that which you're good at, that which you can be paid for, and that which the world needs. And that's a fun thing to think about. It's a little bit more challenging than I thought it would be. For example, I have a huge section filled out for that which I love. Then it's much smaller for that which I'm good at. Then it's about the same size for that which I can be paid for. And honestly, that which the world needs was very large, but over here for that which I love, it's like being outside, meeting new people, talking, being on camera, reading books, climbing, Pilates, hiking, road trips, the beach, beauty, storytelling, journaling, taking photos, podcasting, thinking existentially, food, dining, and then for that which the world needs, I'm like less bullshit, a healthy planet, honesty, good leaders, looking out for people's best interests, clean water, clean food, a better economy, financial literacy, better insurance policies, civil rights. It's like, okay, for that which I love, I said being outside. You know what I mean? But that's a prompt. I've been doing just a lot of free writing. You can, of course, make yourself your own first, last name Summer. You could extend onto the Lexi Lombard Summer, or you could make your own version. Another prompt could be your limiting beliefs. Examples of those, not to get to the super personal ones, but a limiting belief for me for a long time was I'm a night owl, and it kept me from allowing myself to enjoy the morning because I had it in my head that you don't do well in the morning. You have your energy at night. It's always been this way. And I think it was stopping me from enjoying the morning, and because I had it so heavily ingrained in me that I'm not a morning person. Or it could be that's an example. You can go off and figure out your own limiting beliefs and then give yourself the time to just think about it, of why that is and what you can do, where it came from. It's been a lot of diaries. I'm like, what are other prompts? I mean, sometimes it's fun to make plans. You could write things that you want to be in your dream house. For example, I know that I want a space that is just either carpeted or just blank, and I could stretch and do cartwheels and really physically play. I don't know. Think big. That's not a huge thing, but that's one. You know how I said that Carla inspired this episode? I told her that, and she's like, oh, that makes my heart so happy, Miss Lombard. I'm so excited to listen. The Lexi Lombard Summer feels like a class in session. Let's get it going. We're going to have a smart, fun, insightful, playful, relaxing, but inspiring summer. We're going to get tan. We're going to love our lives. Next question. Kenzie asked for my favorite thing to bring to a party. This requires no objects, just your hand and your friend's hand. When music is going, grab your friend's hand, you make a limbo stick. Then you get people to go under it, and then you bring it lower and lower. And then if you want a conversation game, play hot seat. Set a 2-minute timer, ask any person anything you want. It could be, what are green flags that you notice when you're on a first date? Could be, when was the last time you had sex? Have you ever cheated in a relationship? Anything. Hot seat, where you get to ask very personal questions and they have to tell the truth. This is a sweet question. King Nothing asked, how do you know if you're a good friend, or how do you think you can become one? I think it begins with thoughtfulness, thinking of them, but also listening. A lot of us are guilty of just talking, and then we might leave an experience having learned nothing. And there is so much more that you can learn by listening as opposed to talking. And I know that sounds very simple, but I do think that being a good friend is not complicated. You just need to be willing to care about someone, think of them, and listen to them, at least as a basis. Chantel wants to know an ankle update. YouTube, surprise. I have a sprained ankle, and I sprained it 2 weeks ago. I have been wearing a brace. I did try going climbing yesterday, and I took it very easy. When you're indoor bouldering, each climb is ranked from 0 to 12, 0 being the easiest, 12 being the hardest. I was climbing when I got injured 4s and 5s. I was climbing 0s and 1s yesterday and just being very, very, very cautious. It's much better, but I do need to be easy on it. The exercise I've been doing recently has just been walking. I've been missing weightlifting because my upper body was getting so strong from rock climbing. And I don't want to lose my upper body strength. But thank you for thinking of it. Helen asked, did you have pets growing up? Yes. My dad was allergic to cats and dogs, or is allergic to cats and dogs. So my first pet was a goldfish, and then at one point I had 3 fish. We had Lori, which who names their fish Lori? And then we had Goldie and Angel. But Lori was my first. And then I had hermit crabs. I do not remember their names. And then when I was in 3rd grade, after my grandma and aunt had gotten Malteses and we learned that they were hypoallergenic, we got a Maltese that I picked out named Keegan after a horse in a family friend's barn that I liked. And I also rode horses growing up, but I never owned one. And so I named our dog Keegan, and Keegan was on the spectrum for sure. And she was very nervous. She was a very, very nervous dog. And she was also an ankle-biting monster. And I remember my mom was like, you don't love her? And I was like, I know. Which is such a red flag. It's such a red flag. I have to take it back. I have to take it back now. Also, crazy side story. When I was on an airplane recently, I was sitting next to a man, and he ended up like seeing my mom, which was very interesting, I guess, as a medium. And we were just on the plane. I wasn't paying for this service at all. Sorry, I'm like holding my chest right now because I feel so bad saying that about Keegan. But this man on the plane was like, does your mom have a white dog? She's holding a white dog who's like shaking. I was like, oh, that's Keegan. That is Keegan, a frazzled little dog. Oh, I did love Keegan. Mom, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. Sorry, I just, you know how you see a dog and you're like, oh, that's my baby. That's my soul sister. That's how I feel about my grandma's dog, Bentley. If I gave myself a moment, I could probably burst into tears thinking about Bentley because I see her. She sees me. There's a mutual understanding. Keegan and I never had that bond. We never got there. Oh, my heart goes out to Keegan, but she was so scared. She was not an easygoing dog. She was afraid. But we did have pets growing up, and I go on and off with pet fever. I would love to have a dog. I would love to have a cat. Oh, and I go back and forth with what kind, because on one hand, I would love to have a little Maltese that I could just bring around everywhere. But how nice would it be to have like a golden retriever or something a bit larger that, I don't know, like a big buddy that you could like run around with. Because when I take Malteses on walks, like whether it's Keegan or Bentley, like they can only last so long because they're like, their little legs, like they can't take a long walk the way that I can take a long walk. But if I had, I don't know, a Great Dane or something, a Doberman, even a pit bull, I don't know, much to think about. But what I always end up going back to is I don't want to get a pet, specifically a dog, until I have a backyard that they can roam in, because I really want them to have both indoor and outdoor space that they can access at any time. And a cat I could get now, but I just don't know where I put the litter box, and that's honestly been the halt on that front. A practical question from Janica. Best advice for a beginner in video editing. What program would you recommend? If you have Apple, iMovie seems to be pretty user-friendly. it's advanced so much in even the years that I've begun with it, because this was probably 15 or 16 years ago. I use Final Cut Pro. I know it like the back of my hand. I love it. When I was interning, I used Premiere, and that honestly I really liked, and it has a lot more capability than Final Cut does. But I'm not doing any massive editing these days. I'm adding some title slides, some cuts. It's pretty simple, and iMovie seems to be a good place to start. I want to say you can also edit videos in Canva, which is a digital software, if I believe. But I like the Apple programs. If not, Adobe, and then you could use Premiere, which is an Adobe program. That's what I would do. And then let's get a final question. Oh, I like this one. Dara asked, how to get in touch with your intuition, please. Your intuition is a muscle, and it can become stronger and weaker depending on how often you use it. When your intuition has been ignored and it's become weakened, there are still times when it gets to a point where you hear it, and the way to strengthen it is to listen to it. So if you're in a situation at night, whether you're in an Uber or in a restaurant or in a, it's when you're out late at night and you're alone or just with one friend and you just don't feel safe, taking the moment to say, okay, let's leave. There's a shift in the energy here. I don't feel safe. Let's go. That, yes, is using context clues, but listening to yourself. You meet someone and something just tells you like, this is going to be a good friend. Like I really hit it off with this person and I'd like to see them again. To make the effort to go on a walk with them, to grab a drink with them, whatever it is. Or vice versa, you meet someone and everybody loves them, but you just do not get it, to listen to yourself. You don't have to force yourself to like them. You can, of course, be polite, but taking those moments when it is speaking to you and listen to it, because then it just gets stronger. Where when it's been weakened, sometimes your intuition has to yell and scream to get your attention. But the more in tune with it you are, it can just whisper something and you hear it. And I feel like that's a sweet note to end the episode on. If you like this and you're on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, I would love if you left it a review, rated it 5 stars. It really helps the show. If you're on YouTube, feel free to leave comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And then if you're on Patreon, let's get into the next couple stories. But for everybody else, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy your summer. Happy July. I will talk to you next week. XOXO. Lexi.